please join me in welcoming my very good friend, the next President of the United States, John Edwards. God bless you. God bless
you. We're very proud to be in Des Moines today and to focus on some issues that I think are very important to Iowans and specifically to women here in Iowa. A lot of you have heard me talk about the issue of poverty in America, which I think is a huge moral issue. I've been running a poverty center at the University of North Carolina. 37 million Americans live in poverty. Of that 37 million, 21 million are women. And I didn't have to hear that statistic to know it's true. If you go anywhere, which I've been doing the last few years, anywhere in America, to a poverty center or a community action center, mostly what you see are women. I mean, when you're sitting with a single mom who has 4 children, who's working 2 jobs and having a terrible time making ends meet, and her daughter is there, and her daughter's 14 years old and she's pregnant with her 2nd child, you can pretty well count on the fact those children are going to live in poverty. If we really want to empower women in this country, if we want to give force to the women's movement in this country, then we want women to have self-esteem and strength and respect. And they can't continue to not have health care coverage or live in poverty or get paid 77 cents on the dollar for doing the same work men are doing. That's not right. If any of you have just concerns you want to express, it doesn't have to be a question. I want to hear them. I want to listen. I don't want to just talk. I want to hear what you think the next president should be focused on.
There is no encouragement for women who actually want to work and pull themselves up out of the poverty. I know the Clinton administration started some things to encourage women, but my experience was, for instance, in the 90s when my children and I were there. I received a 30-cent an hour raise. They raised my rent on my housing unit $80 a month. It put me backwards instead of forwards.
I have seen exactly the same thing all over the country. Some of the best concepts for women who are living on the street or who have children and don't have a place to live, or essentially homeless, is they bring them in and they basically earn their way up through transitional housing and end up with their own place. But you're right. I mean, that transition is a critical period, and they have to learn to take care of themselves and to be supported and to have, it's never made any sense to me to say to a single mother with 3 or 4 children, you have to go to work without doing something about what's going to happen to her children. I mean, daycare, as every woman in this room knows, is prohibitively expensive. I mean, that assumes you're making a decent wage. If you're working for minimum wage, you can't pay for daycare. You have nowhere to keep your kids. You got to know your kids are safe before you can get up and go to work every morning. And we as a country need to understand the plight that women are faced with and the struggles that they're faced with when they're actually trying to do the right thing, which is what you were describing. When you were working, you got a raise, and then all of a sudden your rent goes up and you're moving backwards. That's not the way things are supposed to work. We need to have a support system that encourages people to take initiative and take responsibility, but then rewards them when they do that instead of punishing them for it. We have to do all of this together because it is the only way to bring about the real change that's needed in this country. Thank you all very much for coming.